It's a report titled Function of the Police, authored by public policy think tank. The new South Africa South Institute has launched in Parliament this week. It reveals, among other worrying issues, that police officers are more concerned with politics than policing, protecting and serving. For more on this, we're joined now by the General Secretary of Independent Policing Union of South Africa, Mpho Kwinika. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. Some important issues highlighted at the launch of the public policy think tank discussion this week in trying to perhaps scrutinize the function of the police. Fighting crime is but one of the police's roles. What's your understanding on the police's function?
Good evening, South Africans. I think it is important to start by saying the society must remember its past and listen to its voices and in pursuance of the social justice. I think we know where we are coming from when we talk about political interference. Many people were killed because of the painful past. Now, post-1994, we need to make sure that those things do not happen again. The South African police in the past was a motor vehicle that was used to pursue people who were seen to be the stumbling block on the agenda of the then government. Today, we have the South African Police Service, which is also being utilized for certain political agendas. And until such time that we stop doing those things, professional policing is going to continue to suffer.
Yeah, utilized for certain political agendas. Some crime experts who've weighed in believe that politicians should simply be kept out of the operations of the police. How much of an impact would that have on the face of policing?
Well, if we do that, we will be able to see the speedy finalizations on investigation of cases such as the one of Menzo Meiwa, because people who did not qualify to attend to that crime scene, we have seen them moving around there, and that is interference, because only police officers were supposed to be around those issues. We continue to see the operational issues being manned by the political leaders, and those who are tasked with those operations, they are always seen to be right at the back of doing their job. So if we allow the police to do their work, we are going to see professional policing at its best, providing the services which they have been established for in terms of the Constitution.
But just getting a sense of the current policing, do you think it's geared to policing in the 21st century, especially considering that there are calls for police not to play such a big role in the actual policy making?
Look, we have said this as IPOSA in the past, that the current structure that we have in the South African Police Service is not geared towards fighting crime. We are very happy to hear the calls that are made by the members of the new institute that is going to deal with policing research, to say that if we continue in the manner that we are doing things, the current police is indeed not geared towards policing or doing policing of the 21st century. And until such time that we remove politics out of policing and bring in equipments which are needed to police the current challenges which we have, such as, the technology that we need, specializing, in certain fields to make sure that the South Africans get the best out of us, the issue of, the support of the police officers with the current technology. We will not be seen to be supporting the policing in the current, the 21st centuries.
And where's the stumbling block? Why are we not advancing as we should? Surely there is some financial muscle to allow it.
Look, we do have money. I think in May, South Africans will recall, we have just, the minister have just, the parliament have just passed the budget for the South African Police Service. And what remains, it is for the operational people to utilize that budget optimally, to ensure safety and security to all the inhabitants of this country. But if we continue and want to appease politicians, want to do what the politicians are saying we should do, we will fail in our duty. It will not be seen to be politicians who had failed. It will be seen as us who have been appointed in terms of the Constitution, because politically there are only two people who are supposed to be appointed politically: the National Commissioner of Police and the National Head of the DPCI. These are the only two people that are supposed to be appointed politically. But what we see now is a lot of senior officers who are being appointed laterally and even political because they do not qualify to be in those positions. There are people who are police officials who qualify to be in those positions, but they are not given an opportunity to do so for political reasons.
Yeah. We know that just this week, Gauteng Police Commissioner Elias Mawela presented the fourth quarter crime statistics, revealing that the province of Gauteng has contributed 27.2% of the national overall crime statistics for the financial year, with contact crimes being the biggest contributors. Mawela says Gauteng's contribution to the national figure will consistently remain significant. What do you believe are some of the biggest loopholes, of course, as police officers are trying to tackle crime and the challenges they face in the fight against crime?
Well, it is common knowledge now that the issue of manpower, the shortage of manpower, the shortage of vehicles, it has been an impediment to the South African Police Service in fighting crime. But having said this, it should not be seen to be trying to exonerate the crime fighters from fighting crime, successfully, because they are trained in such a manner that they are supposed to utilize the resources that they have optimally to deal with the issues of crime. But moving forward, I think the contribution that is made by the province itself in the appointments of the warders, we've seen now recently there is efforts that are being made to employ even more of those warders, regardless of the level of policing and understanding those units has. But I think the proper coordination of activities between the South African Police Service and those structures is going to deal greatly with the issues of reducing crime in South Africa, in Gauteng and South Africa as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I mean, looking at police and their role in politics as opposed to fighting crime, we know that there's also, it gets even worse because there's a lot of accusations on police's role in corruption and failing to respond to community needs and issues. What will it take to enhance police accountability, integrity, which, of course, is primarily meant to enhance public trust and rebuild the police's force's legitimacy?
The South African Police Service need to account to the citizens that they serve. They need to be accountable for their own conducts and actions. They need to ensure that discipline is one of the most important things in ensuring that policing realizes its objectives. We must not try by all means to try and utilize discipline, weaponize it against the people who are seen to be, whom they view as people who are opposed to what they are doing. If there are members who are raising or making an input to policing, they need to take those views, because the police must not impose policing on the people. They must listen to what the people want from them. And they then have to change that which the South Africans want from them into their national crime prevention strategy and utilize that to protect the lives and properties of these South Africans.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Let's perhaps leave it there for now. Independent Policing Union of South Africa's General Secretary, Mpho Kwinika.